Now in Cape Town, Africa Oil Week kicks off today. However, the real race for Africa these days is the green metals needed for the shift to sustainable energy. About 10 years ago, the competition for oil and gas in Africa was a major factor in the organization of Africa Oil Week, and Africa was considered to be the future frontier for the discovery and production of oil and gas due to its promising geology, which housed vast resources just waiting to be discovered. Now, joining me live from Cape Town, South Africa to discuss this further is our Rise News international correspondent, Adesuwa Giwa-Osagie. Good morning, Adesuwa. It's great to see you live from the mother city. Now, surely it's another activity-packed oil week this year.
Good morning.
Most welcome. Well, let's begin with the themes.
Definitely. Good morning. How
Yeah,
are you
good.
doing?
Very well, thank you, Adesuwa. Well, let's begin with the themes for this year's Africa Oil Week. What have we got on this so far?
Well, there are basically four main themes out here this week. First of all is developing the gas economy. You know, beyond oil and gas, we're trying to develop the gas value chain in Africa, across Africa. Also integrating new technologies into oil exploration. We had the Ghanaian minister here earlier speaking about data, the use of new technologies to discover new oil deposits. Namibia as well was able to discover oil deposits in their Orange Basin using new technologies. Another one of the main themes here is this energy transition, this idea of renewable energy and clean energy, and integrating that into Africa's energy mix, but in a just way, not the way that the global north is doing it, but you know, we are facing energy poverty here. So a big theme here today is, you know, how Africa continues to use fossil fuels in an environment where the world is moving away from that to renewables and to clean energy. So integration of that mix is very important. And finally, development of the upstream sector, the upstream oil and gas sector, particularly when it comes to exploration. As I said, you know, Ghana has spoken about, they've made 30 new discoveries recently. Namibia discovering things in the Orange Basin. Even South Africa's Minister of State for Energy was speaking earlier this morning about investment in exploration, particularly because they do share that Orange Basin with Namibia, and they do believe that if there are oil deposits on the Namibian side, that there will be oil deposits on the South African side. So development in the upstream sector, but sustainable development of that upstream sector is also a very important theme this week.
All right, and there's certainly no better time to be having such pertinent discussions. I'm sure that there'll be quite robust conversations around that. Now, in the face of energy transition in the global north, though, and climate change, how do African countries hope to drive investment in fossil fuels, in your opinion, from what you've seen on ground?
Well, you know, as I said earlier, this idea of global this energy transition, particularly in the global north and western countries, is causing huge problems in the continent. Now, one of the things that has been spoken about today by the APPO, the African Petroleum Production Organization, and Afreximbank did sign an MOU for the Africa Energy Bank. Now, they did that a while ago, but this morning, the Secretary General for the APPO, Dr. Umar Farouk Ibrahim, did say on stage that they've been able to raise 45% of the minimum required capital for the takeoff of the bank. They've also said that a lot of the countries have been signatories. Now, the headquarters of the Africa Energy Bank is actually going to be in Abuja, Nigeria. Nigeria has signed on to headquarter the bank. So this is one way that they're trying to find innovative financing for energy development within the African continent. Now, one thing that the Secretary General, Dr. Ibrahim, did say is that Africa needs fossil fuels to develop. You know, the West had 120 years of carbon emissions. This climate change issue, to him, what he said on stage was that it is their requirement, it's their responsibility and not ours. And in order for us to develop in the same way that the global north has, that Africa would need a moratorium of sorts, that we cannot be held to the same standards when it comes to climate change and when it comes to this energy transition. So, you know, the Africa Energy Bank, it's something that's very important. We're hoping to speak to him later today, but countries are trying to get innovative ways to bring back financing into their countries.
All right, the very important developments then. We certainly will be looking out for that conversation. Now, Adesuwa, Cape Town is always really good, but Africa Oil Week is also going to be moving to Ghana next year, as we know. Can you tell us a bit more about that? How is Ghana positioning itself to attract investment?
Now, Ghana did have their case study on stage earlier. It's still ongoing. Nigeria will be up next in about 20 to 30 minutes. We expect a Nigeria case study. But with the Ghanaian, you had representatives from the Ghanaian government. You had the minister, you had the CEO of the petroleum organization there, and they spoke about fiscal initiatives that they've done to invite investment, but also tourism. Also, in terms of soft power, Ghana has done a lot of work to bring people, the returnees have come back to Ghana, but beyond making this cultural, tourist and environment, they've also done fiscal work in order to actually bring investment. And also they have actively invested in technology. And this new 30 discoveries that the minister spoke about on stage, it also has to do with the fact that they have invested in new technologies. The Ghanaian National Petroleum Company has invested in new technologies in order to be able to do geological tests, to do data drives, to essentially find these areas where oil and gas is available, where they might have deposits. And so in doing the work, in data-driven work, in investing in infrastructure, they're also able to then bring these conferences to their country and also bring new companies to come and invest. So Ghana is trying to move forward using, I would say, all hands on deck.
Very great to hear.
But we have to wait and see if it would be successful, because they don't have as much deposits as we do in Nigeria. We were called their big brother on stage. Absolutely. And I don't think they liked it very much.
Well, they certainly don't like it, but of course they're putting in the work. Listen, Adesuwa, many thanks for keeping boots on the ground over there in Cape Town. We certainly will look out for your updates on that.